museum is 82 years old. We've been collecting over that whole entire history, and only a fraction of it is on display at any one time. The rest of the collection is used by scholars and researchers, by, in our case, Native American people who are interested in their cultural history. So we have to take care of those collections in an appropriate manner. Those collections, until very recently, were stored in 1950s era buildings that don't meet current museum standards in terms of humidity control, total climate control, fire suppression, ways to control insects, etc. We made it a priority in order to protect our collection, in order to make sure that our collection is here for future generations, to build a facility that would provide optimal storage conditions, that would be symbolically and culturally appropriate for people in the Native community who use our collections, and to have a building that was sustainable. A number of the people that have been associated with this building, have referred to it as a temple, really, a sacred place where sacred things are kept and lovingly cared for. When the Native American Advisory Committee said, well, we want the building to be alive, they didn't say exactly how they wanted to be alive, but when we put a living roof on the top of it, everyone said, oh, that's really cool. That's giving us a building that's alive. And there were very practical reasons for doing it, but symbolically it also worked very well, too. So the purpose of this living roof is to provide a living surface for the top of the building, to give the building insulation and to hold runoff and slow it down, and just to give a beautiful living surface to the building, which just creates a little more habitat for insects and butterflies, and it just feels good.
The nice thing about it being on a museum campus, a research campus, is that they can operate the roof almost as an experiment in how these ecosystems evolve, how they develop. Museum is involved right now, I believe, in a program of learning how to produce native grass seeds for restoration of forest lands. So this works as another experimental station for that.
On the side of this building, there were 5 earlier buildings, 1950s era cinder block buildings, in very bad condition. Some had cracks in them that would open and close seasonally, and we were storing collections in those. So those buildings were torn down, and the cinder block and concrete was put through a big crusher that turned it into a gravel-like material, which was then used as the engineered fill underneath these buildings. These are ancient petroglyph designs. They're reproductions of petroglyphs from up in Utah that are very, very old. It's really fun to watch how Jim did this. This surface here is Corten steel. It's a steel that rusts on the exterior but doesn't rust into the interior. You took the designs from the petroglyphs and cut those designs out of big pieces of paper, and then taped the paper to the steel, sprayed it with a material called Krylon, clear Krylon, which then slows down the rusting process where the cutouts are. So the rest of the surface rusts, and then this surface will slowly rust. So over time, you'll just see there'll be a difference. You'll see that, and the petroglyphs will be there.
They kind of represent like the hand of man involved in this. That it's like a man-made thing, and that people did this, which, it's kind of man's mark.
I want to call your attention to the front door. Again, this was Jim's design, but the iconography is very suggestive of what, at least to me, of Navajo iconography on sand paintings or weavings, that kind of thing. So Native people, again, very quickly recognize that there's there's a friendly attitude about this building.
All about showing respect, for the cultures that are involved here, but also respect for everything that's inside, as well as respect for the environment where it is.
In a world where we don't often respect indigenous people and honor their genius, this is a place that says we have that respect and we show it in very tangible ways. This is called the solar aperture, and from a native perspective, you want your collections, you think of them as living things, so you want them to have an interaction with the sun. So on the morning of the equinox, when the sun comes in and hits that door, then we open the door and the sun goes in and interacts with the collection area. So it provides that connection between the power of the sun and the living collections that we have inside. So we've set it up so the public can view the collections area and see the collections management activities by curtain rises. So when there's nobody in this space, the skylights are closed. When people come in, the motion detector picks up the movement and opens the skylights. And again, what people in the Native American community said to us, we want natural light in this space. We have almost $1 million in steel cabinetry in this building, purchased through federal grants that we applied for on a competitive basis. And we were very fortunate to get the funding to buy these cabinets for the building. The way these things are stored now, someone will be able to come back in a couple of hundred years, and they're going to be, because of the storage environment, they're going to be just like they are now. So this is one of the most well-documented and extensive collections of Navajo weaving, documenting from the very early history of Navajo weaving all the way up through the 20th century up to today, and documenting the different regional styles and the evolution of the weaving. So this is a wonderful resource for weavers today to come in and see what's their past. This is a herbarium. These are pressed plants that document where plants occur, but these last a very long time, and so botanists can chart the distribution of plants and changes in plant communities over time. Some plants disappear, and some plants appear, and so we can look at the evolution of the landscape by studying how these plants come and go. When collections come into the building, they come in here first and they go into a holding area, and then if they're organic, like a textile or a basket, they go in here for a week. And they are where they get to live at a sub-zero temperature, and so if there are insects associated with that object, they get killed. It's really, really exciting because when I came, doing this kind of facility was a priority for us. I had some ideas about where the money might come from, but I never imagined we would find a donor that would really have a deep understanding of what we needed and support it so thoroughly, and who really wanted the building to reflect the highest level of quality. So when we got into situations where we had to make decisions, do we lower the quality of the building or do we put a little more money into it, the donors just stayed right with us all the way through. So it was just really an incredible process, and we didn't have to compromise on the beauty or quality of the building, and the result is just spectacular. Yeah.
This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Involves so many different things, culturally, technically, environmentally. It's just a dream project. Challenging, but well worth the effort.